Part 45. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gumyu Shuang. Chapter 441. He couldn't help but tickle her waist, causing her to shrink. "Don't touch me." Sci-Lu hadn't intended to touch her, but he was still a little unhappy after hearing her words, saying, "Are you telling the truth? Why didn't I realize that you're not only nagging but also annoying?" Yingwan raised her eyes to look at him. "I have nothing to do, so why would I joke with you about this?" Sci-Lu was overjoyed to get her personal admission. He couldn't help but ask, "Why did you suddenly agree? Weren't you very resolute before?" Yingwan didn't know how to answer this question, and she was rarely asked. Because she didn't know when she changed her mindset. Maybe it was a subtle influence, or maybe Sci-Lu's presence had an effect. She looked back at Sci-Lu. "I can also stay the same as before." Sci-Lu's face darkened. "I can let you do whatever you want in other matters, but you can't lie to me about this matter, Wan. I can't compare to you, but I am also the eldest son of the Si family outside. Others always have to look at my face. If you play tricks on me, I will lose face." She said this deliberately, but in fact she was covering up her fear and loss. Yingwan looked at him carefully. "Why didn't I see that you were a man with face before?" Based on what he did, he would never say such a thing as having face. A boy with face would not climb into the bed of a young man at the age of 22. When it comes to that matter, Sci-Lu still doesn't regret it. He smiled and said, "Then there is no other way. I hope to leave a little impression on you." As for academics and majors, he didn't dare to discuss anything with Yingwan. There is not much time on weekdays, everyone is busy. The only opportunity to show his presence was thought of by his eldest son. Now the relationship has changed. He lowered his head, his voice softened, with a hint of coquettishness. "You don't understand me. At that time, I paid a huge price to find a way to avoid the people around you, just to build up the network of relationships. You are really extraordinary that you can get through them." Yingwan smiled coldly. "It's also fortunate that they think you are not dangerous. After all, you are a member of the Si family. If anything happens to me, you will be gone." Maybe those people just think that Sci-Lu wants to be alone with Yingwan. After all, it's not uncommon to meet Yingwan alone on weekdays, and they didn't expect that he did such a shameless thing. "I realized later that I didn't do the right thing." He thought about it, and sighed slightly when he mentioned the past. He poked Yingwan's cheek with his slender fingertips. "I was afraid of affecting you, so I didn't bother you in the next few years. I knew you had to concentrate on your own things. It was not because I knew that you had completed the things you promised to the country and came back early that I had the opportunity to come." His voice was low, but he was really worried. "You don't know that I was also afraid at that time. I was already good compared to others, but I also knew that I was still not good enough compared to you. You had to do research, and there were so many people around you. I was afraid that you would fall in love with others. Then he would have no chance at all." Fortunately, Yingwan was hard-hearted. Even his face didn't move her, so naturally others would have no chance. He was right. Yingwan was interested. "What if I fell in love with someone else at that time?" Although she was focused on her own world, it was not impossible. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gumyu Shuang. Chapter 442. She asked this purely out of curiosity, but Sci-Lu's face still darkened. His face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. "Then what can I do? Maybe then I will be hoping that you will break up, or I will be the third party to poach you." Yingwan said, "Your idea is not good. After all, she used to be a teacher, and students' values are still important. Sci-Lu, you expect me to have any moral ideas in you? I have done the most shameful things, and I am still afraid of this moral accusation. Besides, it is not that this has not come true. Look, you have promised me now, haven't you?" He was so happy that Yingwan felt that he was happy, and was also affected for a while. She was in a good mood, so she didn't care about Silu waking her up. But she still had to sleep. She continued to yawn, "I'm going to sleep. If you have anything to say, tell me during the day." Silu was so arrogant at this moment that some things could not be said more naturally. "Then I'll come over for breakfast in the morning." Yingwan never cared about such a small matter. "Okay." Silu was very happy. He was easily satisfied now. If this person gave in to him, he would be extremely satisfied. Perhaps he had never tasted this before, so he was so easily captured now. He stroked Yingwan's hair and said, "You go to sleep. I'll watch you fall asleep and then I'll come over. Don't worry, I won't do anything." He knew Yingwan's temper. Yingwan knew that even if they were dating now, he would not dare to do anything excessive. Because Silu always knew how to grasp the scale, otherwise he would not know how to advance and retreat and would have disappeared in front of Yingwan long ago. She nodded, not caring at all, and lay back on the bed, facing Silu sideways. He squatted beside her bed. Xiaohei was woken up by them, but he was also very sleepy. He just opened his eyes and swung his tail at Silu, and didn't mean to come over to greet him. Silu didn't care about it. He just propped his elbows on Yingwan's bed and smiled at her. Yingwan didn't feel embarrassed when he looked at her. After all, her thoughts were still open-minded in some aspects, so she didn't feel shy at all. Before she closed her eyes and went to sleep, she suddenly remembered something, opened her eyes again and asked Silu, "Do you remember what you said, when I rejected you at that time? You said that you would not like me when you found someone smarter than me." It was indeed what he said, and Silu felt guilty, but he was also annoyed. "I was angry because you rejected me at that time. You also know my temper. It would be uncomfortable for anyone to be rejected, but you were the one who pissed me off. Besides, you also know that I was talking nonsense. How could there be someone smarter than you in this world? Can smart people be as pretty as you? 1. The beginning of my liking for you may be because you are too smart and excellent, so I saw you, but I never said that I like you, just for this reason. I like you as a person." Yingwan blinked and said, "Bai Ya asked me what I thought about the future at that time. I said I liked people who were smarter than me. He told me to wait for the batch born in kindergarten to see if there was a chance." Silu laughed first, then stretched out his hand and pinched Yingwan's arm. "Don't talk nonsense all day long. You can still find someone smarter than you. There are people with higher IQs than you. They are all people who are about to be buried. Do you like them too?" Yingwan paused. Silu covered her eyes with his hands, and whispered, "Go to sleep. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 443. He wanted to talk to Yingwan. It was just too late now, and she would feel uncomfortable being woken up, so he wanted her to go to bed early. The aura between the two was strangely peaceful. Even if they agreed to date, it seemed that they had not changed in essence. Yingwan was not hypocritical or shy, and he was very direct. After this chat, Silu found that Yingwan had changed a little. When she talked to him, she talked more and her tone became much faster. She used to be calm and gentle, and she was not anxious about anything. Although she was smart, sometimes he felt that this was too frustrating and he was not sure about the direction of attack. Fortunately, at least he persisted. 6 years. Although he was slacking off for 6 of them. In fact, he had always been paying attention to her news. It was relatively easy for people of their class to get news about Yingwan. He remembered clearly what awards she won and what achievements she had. His memory was not as good as Yinghuan's, but he would not forget things. It was just that things in the past would be vague, but he could always remember Yinghuan's information quickly. Yinghuan's good memory actually has a very obvious disadvantage. She remembers everything clearly. So when her grandfather passed away, she felt extremely uncomfortable. For so many years, whenever she thought of her grandfather, she could remember that scene. Sci-Lu also knew how uncomfortable she must have felt. If she didn't get herself into a busy life, the consequences of her extraordinary memory would be tormenting. At that time, he didn't know Yinghuan, and didn't know much, but he also roughly knew Yinghuan's weaknesses. She only had a grandfather in her life. If Yinghuan didn't agree with Lin Mei, who came back later, Sci-Lu would have disliked her. Fortunately, she knew her limits. Thinking about it, he couldn't help laughing. Now it's his turn to take care of this girl. What did Si Guanyi say yesterday? If you can't catch up with someone, give up as soon as possible. Tisk. But Yinghuan is not his capital to show off. He has to ask her what she thinks. If she says to make it public, then make it public. If she doesn't make it public, then make it public. Anyway, she is here and can't run away, so he is not in a hurry. Of course, at this time, his mentality was still Buddhist. Later, he would know that people are always greedy. Once they make concessions, he would feel far from satisfied. Hearing Yinghuan's breathing become calm, he knew she was asleep. He tucked in the quilt, reluctant to leave, but if he didn't leave overnight, Suhan would be able to check his ancestors tomorrow. Besides, it was 3 or 4 o'clock now. He was energetic if he relaxed now, but people couldn't do without rest. Go back and make up for a few hours of sleep, and see Yinghuan again when he gets up. Well, this life is really good. Thinking of this, he got up gently, his tall body still tiptoed, for fear of waking Yinghuan, turned off the lights, and slowly left. There was no need to lock the door of the main room, as Suhan and others were there at night. The fence gate was about to be locked. Seeing Sci-Lu coming out, the Special Forces member was confused, so fast. Suhan, what the hell are you thinking about? Special Forces member, no, I'm not. I was just wondering why he went in the middle of the night, how urgent is it? Suhan dropped a bombshell, it's likely that he has caught up with Miss Ying. Looking at him, he looked so eager, as if he was afraid that she would run away. Suhan put out the cigarette, but cursed in his heart. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 444. Special Forces. F***ck. This is not a bombshell, this is simply horror news. Everyone thought it was normal that Yinghuan did not accept it. It has only been a few months, and he actually succeeded. The Special Forces team member looked dreamy, it shouldn't be. Are ordinary people worthy of Academician Ying's kind of god? Suhan, where shouldn't it be? Team member, no. No, I just think that Miss Ying deserves better. Suhan sneered, what do you think? Team member. Thinking about it, damn, there really is no one. They always think that Yinghuan is too much like a god, either she will die alone or find someone to match. But, this is too difficult. Considering the people around him and the male conditions over the years, there are a lot of people who are smarter than Sci-Lu, but people have their own specialties. Those are big men from all sides, and their ages are not at the same level. He is the heir of the Si family at a young age. Although Si Guanyi usually mocks him, he has no doubts about his son's ability. He is obviously relieved to put the Si family in his hands, which shows that he is good enough. In such a big Si family, his status is noble enough, and his height, family background, and appearance are impeccable. It is impossible for everyone to be like Yinghuan. People like her are extremely rare or even non-existent. Sci-Lu is rare enough, and such people are also well-deserved children of heaven. Ordinary people can't even get in touch with them. It can be seen that Yingwan is not unselective, but she picked the one with the best conditions. When the team members figured it out, they suddenly felt sad. It's all because Miss Ying is too good. We have lost our judgment of ordinary people. Seeing that no one is better than Yingwan, that's not a decline in judgment. Su-han. He looked at the quiet little house and laughed secretly. In fact, it's quite good. He has been with Yingwan for a long time. On the surface, he treats her as an academician, but in fact, he knows that Yingwan also has the 7 emotions and 6 desires that people should have. Su-han sees it clearly, otherwise why would she keep Lin Mei? She is not indifferent, she has just been accustomed to not caring for so many years. That's why people think she is indifferent to everything and detached from the world. In the morning, Yingwan got up and just got up to change the dog food for Xiaohei, and Sci-Lu showed up on time. But this time, De-Hei, who had been dormant for a night, turned on the phone and found an outsider, and immediately issued an alarm. Intruder, Yingwan, there is an intruder is trespassing on your territory. Sci-Lu walked in, and before he could smile, he was hit by De-Hei's words. His face darkened. What intruder? Yingwan saw it and found it a little funny. I reinstalled it. It now has an automatic recognition function. Your information has not been entered yet, and it thinks you are an intruder. She called De-Hei over to enter Sci-Lu's information, and then asked Sci-Lu with his hands in his pockets, what do you want to eat? She actually took the initiative to ask for other people's opinions. I still remember that the first time Sci-Lu didn't even have the choice of whether it was spicy or not. Sci-Lu smiled and said, it's all right. Everything you cook is delicious. I'll help you. Yingwan, you can't do anything except peeling garlic. Sci-Lu corrected her, I can also wash onions. Yingwan. De-Hei entered the information at this time, but there was only Sci-Lu's recognition image. It came over and asked, what's your name? How old are you this year? Or changed to checking the household registration. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 445. Sci-Lu ignored De-Hei and went into the kitchen to help Yingwan. Now he and Yingwan have achieved a happy ending, whatever he said was right. His mind is now full of dealing with Yingwan, so he doesn't care about others. When he was with Yingwan, Sci-Lu realized that people would only become bold when they were allowed to. For example, even if he liked Yingwan before, he would not do anything rude. Now in the kitchen, he just helped wash a handful of vegetables, and spent the rest of the time looking at Yingwan. Her temperament seems to be otherworldly, which makes her feel particularly gentle when she is busy in the kitchen, even though she is not temperamental. She enjoys cooking, because making delicious food is like her studying and learning, and they are all good results, so she won't find it troublesome. If she didn't like it, she wouldn't have planned to move to the countryside from the beginning. Sci-Lu propped up his chin and looked at her with interest. He felt that he couldn't see her no matter how hard he looked, so he asked the question he had always wanted to ask, is it because of Grandpa that you returned to the countryside? The grandpa he referred to was naturally the grandfather who raised Yingwan. Yingwan paused, then nodded, and said, almost, I miss Grandpa, and I want to experience this life better. I still prefer to stay here. It's quiet, and it's Grandpa's hometown. No matter what, there are childhood memories. The villagers in Huayang village are nice. When she was a child said something she shouldn't say to her, and she was scolded when her parents found out. In today's era, although Huayang village is remote, the people are rare in simplicity and kindness, and never say anything to Yingwan who has no parents. In fact, most of it is due to Yingwan's grandfather, who is really prestigious in the village. His granddaughter is naturally loved by everyone. It's understandable that the children don't like her. When everyone was young, facing a child who doesn't fit in and is too smart, they usually have a rejection mentality out of jealousy. At that time, Yingwan had already shown her intelligence. Later, she was taken away by someone very quickly, and she had no time to think about these things, so she had no resistance to the village. Yingwan said, "I wonder if you can still stay here." With the temper of this young master, it is incredible that he can stay here for a few months, even if it is to pursue her. "For you, I am willing to overcome any conditions." Sci-Lu took the opportunity to show his loyalty. "Besides, you can stay here, why do you think I can't stay?" Yingwan smiled faintly, and the porridge in the pot had begun to thicken and exude a beautiful fragrance. The food in the morning was too greasy, so she only fried a stack of side dishes, which was simple and delicious enough. Sci-Lu was picky, but Yingwan's cooking skills were good, so he didn't care what he ate. When the food was served, Sci-Lu couldn't hide his good mood and asked Yingwan a question, "Can I make it public?" Yingwan looked at him strangely, "What do you want to make public?" Sci-Lu couldn't figure out what she meant by that. "It's our relationship." "Then why do we need to make it public?" Yingwan's words chilled Sci-Lu's heart. The next thing he heard was her saying, "Dating is a normal thing. There's nothing shameful about it. If they know, they know. Do we need to make it public?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 446. Sure enough, people think differently from him. Sci-Lu understood what he meant and was overjoyed. "I know." He really didn't need to prove anything. Although he wanted to make it public, since Yingwan didn't care, he could find a better opportunity. For example, his father's birthday party next week. That would be a big event. Their birthday party was just a place to talk business. There would be a lot of people coming. Almost all the famous people in the upper class of the imperial capital would come. Making it public at that time was actually the best proof. Of course, she was happy. After many years of being a daughter-in-law, she could not help but show off. Sci-Lu found a WeChat group, which was full of best friends who had played together since childhood. Recently, he was busy chasing Yingwan and didn't communicate much with his best friends. Hua Huanyan was also in it. Usually, most of their topics in the group were about brand names or activities and racing, but there were very few girls. After all, with their status, they really didn't need to use women to prove anything. Sci-Lu's account is special. Even sending red envelopes has a special limit, but there is also a maximum limit. He sent out several red envelopes at the maximum limit in one go. The members don't lack this little money, but Sci-Lu has been silent for thousands of years, and suddenly spoke up to send red envelopes, and everyone was flattered. "What's wrong with Brother Lu, you are so happy to send money today?" "Tisk tisk 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 okay, my sports car just needs this little money to fix the tire." "Do you believe that Brother Lu will kill you?" "But what's wrong today, Brother Lu is so happy. He must be happy to send out red envelopes suddenly." "Sci-Lu, celebrate my ending of being single." A row of question marks came down, indicating their confused mood now. "Wow, Academician Ying, are you not chasing after me anymore?" "Ah, too miserable, even our brother Lu came back empty-handed, and had to settle for another woman." "Hey, after all, there is no one in this world who can compare to Academician Ying. Brother Lu, don't be unhappy, Academician Ying is the kind of person that even you look down on, and he will probably be a god for the rest of his life." Sci-Lu's face suddenly darkened. "It's fine if these people don't believe that he can chase Yingwan, but they are actually rubbing salt into the wound here. In other words, even if he found another woman, these buddies are worthy of being buddies, and every word hurts the heart. Hua Huanyan, how can you talk like that? It's normal for our brother Lu to fall in love. Do you look down on our brother Lu or what? How about brother Lu's sister-in-law? When will you bring her out for us to see? Si Lu/smile, I don't think you dare to see her. After he finished speaking, he turned on the camera function and filmed Yingwan, who was playing with Xiaohei after dinner. At the same time, he reached out and held Yingwan's palm, and called out very gently, "Wan Wan." Yingwan turned around, her calm appearance seemed to reveal a bit of obedience. Seeing him pointing the phone at her, she also said calmly, "What are you doing?" "Taking a picture of you." After he said this, he interrupted the filming. "They don't believe this. I asked them to be mentally prepared in advance, so that they won't be dumbfounded when they see you." After saying this, when he pressed pause, the video had already been sent out. For about a few minutes, there was a dead silence in the group. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 447. Si Lu was just laughing, knowing that this group of idiots must be scared out of their wits. Hua Huanyan was still drinking and chatting with his brothers at this time. He just heard last night that brother Lu had returned to the capital. He was drinking with others, but he ran away from the bar in the middle of the night. He was in a hurry and didn't know what urgent matter he had. Now he suddenly saw him saying in the group that he was no longer single. Hua Huanyan immediately thought that Si Lu had figured it out. After all, Teacher Ying was too difficult to pursue. When he went to see her last time, Teacher Ying's attitude didn't seem like someone Si Lu could win over. Hua Huanyan felt that brother Lu had finally given up and knew that there was more than one woman in the world. He was finally no longer single, which was really a big event for everyone to celebrate. If Uncle Si Guanyi knew about it, he would definitely be so happy that he would cry on the spot. Hua Huanyan was thinking like this while he was drunk. He was waiting for Si Lu to say when he would bring his sister-in-law to them, but he saw Si Lu sent a video. He suddenly clicked on it. The deep and sexy bass in the video was so exciting that it almost made his bones go soft. As a man, he almost couldn't control himself. The gentle tone made him shudder. After he woke up, he realized that he was calling, "Wan Wan." Then in the video, Teacher Ying's face appeared. She seemed to be used to it and only asked the camera what he was doing. The video was interrupted. Hua Huanyan also saw the hand holding Yingwan, and she didn't shake it off. Hua Huanyan suddenly raised his head and took a big gulp of wine. "I'm drunk." Others. After a few minutes, Hua Huanyan began to howl, "Damn, he can catch up with us. Our lives will be even more difficult from now on. In this imperial capital, who else can defeat him? He is a young master and a pretty boy. Compared with Yingwan's status and family background, Si Lu can also be a pretty boy if he wants." Hua Huanyan went crazy here, and the group began to boil. Don't be afraid of smiling, brother Lu has gone crazy, he photoshopped it. Brother Lu, from now on you are really my brother Lu, you have caught up with a god, amazing. Isn't brother Lu also a god in the hearts of the general public? A god matches a god, a perfect match. Ah, is Teacher Ying so soft and cute? This sentence with a soul-stirring wavy line was strangled in the bud by Si Lu's reply, "Huh." The man withdrew the sentence. Yingwan did not stop him, but just looked down. Si Lu's hand was still holding her palm. He pinched it naturally. Yingwan looked at it and felt something was wrong. Si Lu was too natural, of course, she did not stop it. It shows that she is still honest in her heart. When did she start to change her attitude? Xiaohei was acting like a spoiled child under her feet. She looked at him, nodded his head with a smile, pulled her hand away, and said, I'm going to continue an experiment this afternoon. Sci-Lu couldn't disturb her while she was doing the experiment, but he felt a little depressed when he heard her, "It's the first day we're together, are you busy with an experiment?" "It's urgent." "Not really. It's data research on AI. She has been working on it these days because she has nothing to do. A delay is not a problem." Thinking that it is indeed the first day they are together, she looked at Sci-Lu again. "What do you want to do?" Sci-Lu was very happy. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 448. Let's go to the aquarium. Yingwan had been to the aquarium before, with Lin Mei. The main problem is time now. It's unrealistic to take her to far places. He wants to go out and date Yingwan. Although it's their first love, he has gone through some plans in his mind 800 times, and he has quite a plan. Today is a weekday, there shouldn't be many people in the park, and most of them should be children. The aquarium is Yuiya Aquarium, the one in Guangdong City. Yingwan thought about it and felt it was okay, but asked casually, "Do you still like the aquarium?" Sci-Lu, "If I say go out for dinner, and your own cooking is better than the restaurant, then there's no need, and you don't have much time. I'll arrange something else for you when we return to the imperial capital." Yingwan doesn't lack anything, but she won't stop Sci-Lu if he wants to prepare. After Sci-Lu finished speaking, he looked at Yingwan and smiled with his chin propped up. "This is the first day of our relationship. This day in the future will be our anniversary. Do you understand?" Yingwan, "Oh." Seeing her indifferent to everything, Sci-Lu felt a little funny. He knew that she was originally of this temperament, very indifferent. He watched Yingwan enter the room to get something, and he took out his mobile phone to book 2 tickets online. The first day of their relationship was indeed a day worth celebrating. In the corner, the 2 special forces guarding here looked complicated. "I just slept, why can't I understand this world?" Yingwan didn't refuse when Sci-Lu held hands. Although they were too far away to hear what they were talking about, they could read lips. "I ate a mouthful of dog food at once, and I felt a little cold in my heart." The other one also had a complicated expression. "I don't understand it either. Obviously, when I went back last time, Miss Ying and this SI were quite normal. How come the world has changed today?" If those people in the capital knew that Yingwan and Sci-Lu were officially together, they would probably explode into several circles of fireworks. They still have to go to the aquarium now. In other words, they may have to face this kind of dog food at any time in the future. Totally unscrupulous. When Yingwan went into the room to get her phone, she received a call from Bai Yat. He didn't mean anything else, but said nervously, "I felt uneasy last night. I asked around and nothing happened. Is everything okay over there?" "Are you cursing me?" Yingwan laughed. "What can happen to me here?" He, I'm just thinking about it. I'm worried about you. I heard that you will come back for Si Guanyi's birthday party next week, right?" "Well, since we are partners now, I should go to his birthday party for emotional and logical reasons." Bai Ya thought for a while. "Okay, since you are going, I won't go. There may be temporary plans abroad next week. Maybe I have to go out. Lu Yu will also go there. Please help me keep an eye on her and don't let her talk nonsense, especially close to Si Guanyi. It's best not to let her talk to Si Guanyi." Yingwan. She didn't know what Bai Ya and Zhu Liu were doing. She thought for a while and said, "I do have something. I was going to tell you after I go back. Now I'll tell you that Sci-Lu and I are together. It happened last night." Bai Ya. He seemed to have heard something shocking. No wonder he was so uneasy last night. The emotional bomb was buried here. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Shuang. Chapter 449. Bai Ya didn't know how to say it was too late. He felt like tears were coming to his eyes. Mainly because since college, he and Si Lu didn't have much competition. One is the evil leader of capitalism, and the other is a typical representative of the proletariat. The two sides disliked each other, and in most cases it was him who unilaterally targeted Silv. No one looked down on this idiot. But he had cooperated with Yingwan since school, and now he has become Yingwan's right-hand man. Si Lu tried every means to get close to Yingwan, but he was not as good as himself. This was something that Bai Ya was quite proud of. Now, he wanted to curse a few words in his heart. What if you agreed not to fall in love? What about being inhumane as promised? Not long ago, I saw Si Lu humbly posting on WeChat moments. Why did he turn around and find himself with Yingwan? Bai Ya's voice seemed to contain endless tears of blood. Why is it so sudden? It was quite sudden. Yingwan said, but I have already promised him, so I will tell you now. Bai Ya. This is simply nightmare news. After hanging up the phone, Bai Ya seemed a little distracted. It wasn't that he had any thoughts about Yingwan. After all, everyone was married. The main reason was that he and Si Lu were not on the same page. He felt that anyone could pursue Yingwan, but Si Lu was the one. Son of a bitch. If you think about it carefully, when he was in school, Si Lu was an absolute figure of the hour. He spent all day hanging out with a bunch of gangster friends and the super rich second generation. He couldn't be said to be a good person, but he couldn't be said to be a bad person either. It was not just a day or two when the two met, armed with guns and sticks, and they were in a strange mood. Now that Si Lu and Yingwan are together, Bai Ya feels that his life is going to be difficult. Unexpectedly, after returning home from get off work, Zhu Liuya gave him a warning. Brother Lu is actually with Yingwan. Bai Ya looked at Zhu Liuya. How did you know? Zhu Liuya said, what Hua Huanyan said. No one believed it at first. Brother Lu posted the video in their group, but it hasn't been officially made public yet. They don't dare to say it everywhere. We have a good relationship. I said privately that my brother Tianlu is quite awesome. He can even catch up with Yingwan. I was not optimistic about him before, but now it seems that I made a mistake. Bai Ya. He felt it was hard to explain. Don't you think they don't match well? Where is the mismatch? Zhu Liuya rolled his eyes instead. Why do you look down on Brother Lu? You don't want to think that a genius like Yingwan is unique in the world. You really want to find a match. Then there must be no one who is worthy of Yingwan. Brother Lu is handsome, rich, and everything is perfect. He is already the most suitable for Yingwan. If Yingwan finds someone else, I feel that someone else is not worthy. Okay. Zhu Liuya added the key sentence. Besides, Brother Lu is not just handsome, he is super handsome. I know you are just jealous of a man like you. Bai Ya. I'm jealous of a hammer. Zhu Liuya ignored the man's shameful face and thought happily, when Brother Lu comes to the imperial capital, we can have an excuse to treat him. This is a great event. Hey, they are not young at all. What do you mean? How long will it take to get married? Marry. When the topic of marriage was brought up, it was even more heartbreaking. Bai Ya said that he didn't want to hear it. He refused to acknowledge this fact. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Shuang. Chapter 450. As Si Lu expected, there were not many people at the aquarium today. But not a lot. After all, this is considered a very popular amusement park in Guangdong City. The venue inside is very large, and there are relatively few people in the aquarium. Most of them are parents bringing their children to watch. When Yingwan and Si Lu appeared here, they were simply the most outstanding ones among the crowd. Fortunately, most of them were ordinary people. Some people recognized Yingwan, but they didn't come forward to disturb her. Most of them were children, and everyone was surprised at Si Lu's appearance, but there was no exaggeration. So a trip to the aquarium is quite peaceful. I had been here once last time, and Yingwan remembered every place clearly. Although Si Lu said he was looking for a place to date Yingwan, in fact, the drunkard didn't care about drinking. He was talking to Yingwan while walking along the way. Wan lowered his head and spoke. Discuss her past. Yingwan was not impatient. She answered whatever Si Lu asked. When she passed by a resting corner in the park, there was a candy store selling candies. This kind of sugar skewers is considered a local craft in Guangdong City and is not available in parks in other cities. Yingwan also ate it when he was a child. When I see the candy strings, I seem to think of my grandfather in the past. When she was a child, her grandfather would bring her a bunch of candies every time he came back from the market. The sweet taste in my memory has never been forgotten to this day. It's just that it's been a long time, and it's rare to see people selling candy strings now. She glanced at it a few times, and Si Lu noticed it, and raised the corners of his lips. Want to eat? Yingwan nodded. I haven't eaten it for a long time. I haven't seen it sold anywhere else. I'll go and buy. She and Si Lu walked over. This kind of candy string was somewhat similar to candied haws, but it was not the same. The middle of the candy was runny, which was very warm in winter, so it would not make people feel cold. The flavors are all fruity, there are many, and the prices are quite expensive. $10 a bunch. But to them, it was just an indifferent price. Si Lu bought a bunch. He didn't like eating these things. He handed it to Yingwan, who took a bite and frowned slightly. It seems that modern technology is all products made by machines. This is in an aquarium. It is originally a fast food product. The taste is not very good. The candy is sweet, greasy, and even bitter. Maybe the child will still like it, but compared to the taste in her memory, it is really far different. She didn't like it after taking one bite, and said thoughtfully, I can ask you how to make these candy strings when I go home tonight, and I'll make them myself. Unappetizing. Si Lu laughed and took the remaining candy skewers. That can't be wasted. Waste is not the second priority, the main thing is the things that Yingwan has tasted. He took it and ate the piece Yingwan had bitten without any surprise. When he bit into his mouth, the taste was indeed too ordinary. He frowned, bit the piece into pieces and swallowed it. It really doesn't taste good. He added, after all, it is an aquarium opened by Bia, and it is under your name. If the product is not good and affects the reputation, I suggest you talk to Bia. Yingwan chuckled, he is in charge of the aquarium. I can give him some advice when I get back. Si Lu found the remaining candy strings and threw them away in a trash can. When he left, he naturally held Yingwan's hand and left. Yingwan paused for a moment, looked down at the hand he was holding, but still didn't say anything. This felt a little strange, but it didn't seem to make her uncomfortable.